Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. So we've got another car that came in, and sorry, I was just seeing something here. Okay, we've got another car that came in, and this here is a 325 IS again, but it's a Polaris Silver EVO2. So the VIN number on this here will be the OEJs. Okay, so guys, in for a full resto. It was built before or restored before, but again not done properly. So instead of us repairing where we have to repair, we've made a decision just to say, you know what, let's take back down to metal, start again, because we found quite a few issues with this vehicle. So if you look from far, the car actually looks like a pretty car, but when you start coming closer to it, you start seeing all the issues, right? And I'm gonna go through that before we start stripping the vehicle down. So we actually started with we started stripping out the taillights already, the headlights, the grills, and you'll see the stuff is here in the booth, but we're gonna be taking that out now so we can strip out further. Okay, so I actually want to move over. Let's see where we can start. Let's start on the side of the car, and I'm going to show you why we're saying that we want to take down and start again, because it's actually very hard to start from, especially when somebody's repaired. We don't know where they've repaired, how far they've gone to, and stuff like that. So again, it's easier for us just to basically take down everything, start over again, and go through the correct process from there. So one of the reasons that's pushed us to do a restore on the car is two major factors. One is the alignment of the vehicle, where this vehicle is actually slightly skew. So I don't know if the vehicle has been in an accident before. We don't have much history on it, but there's a couple of issues on the car. So it's this pillar here and that pillar there, where we're seeing the vehicle is okay. So anyway, quickly, so if you look at this line here, this line should be consistent coming over the ear on the back window. So but you can see that it isn't. People have actually had to put sticker flex on the inside here just to get this guy to stick, and then she is overlapping. And if you look at the gaps here, there's inconsistent gaps along the whole side of the car, right? So I guarantee you this rubber should actually be loose. Once I pull this bearing off, this rubber will actually be loose at the back here, because the gap of the car is actually skew. So one thing I do know, and the client mentioned to me, was that the car was in an accident, or no, not in an accident. It was supposed to get straightened up, that previous guy. So it was apparently straightened out, but you can see here clearly, if people don't do if jobs are not done properly when straightening, and we've seen that on one of the cars that we were busy with, if people do not pull the car straight, you cannot see the car as a shell, or even with the doors on it, that the car is not straight. You'll start seeing it on your beadings. If it's very badly out, you'll start seeing on alignment of doors, which you'll see on this guy here as well. But if it's out just a little bit, you'll start seeing it more or less on the beadings and all these areas, and you'll never be able to line them up properly. That's why we've got to go through the procedure of basically measuring the car out before we strip motor out, and then we've got to go through another procedure of measuring the car strip on a shell. And then once we get that right, then we identify where the areas are that they need to work on. Depending on where the areas are, we can either start assembling and they can pull on there, or they need to start pulling while it's still a shell. So this is the one issue that we picked up here. I can't remember if it is this door here. Okay, so here's the other issue. So on both doors, if you look at the gap on the doors here, you'll actually see that there's an open gap here at the bottom, and the gap closes. But if you look at the gap on the front here, you'll see that the gap is it's a little bit bigger here, but it's fairly equal, right? There's rust here underneath the doors, so it's fairly equal. But look here, so if you, Lucian, if you can come here, so if you, that's why you gotta actually force it, right? You can actually see how the door drops down. Look at the gap here now once it's locked into place. So that means that the hinge is now pulling it back up. But you've got a gap here, and the whole door drops down. So this here isn't with regards to aligning. It's not an aligning issue, because if it was an aligning issue, our gap here would have been bigger and smaller down there once the door dropped. So this is coming down to, see the gap is still the same here. It's not changing. There's an issue on the pillar. So the issue might not be coming in from the pillar itself. If we move across to this idea of the vehicle, we're just going through a lining now, right? I'll go through the other issues that we're facing with the vehicle. If you go through this vehicle, this door is also an issue, and you can actually see how this door is sitting. So I think this bearing is pulled in. It is made too tight where it's pulling in, but I don't think this is the only issue, because if you look at the gap here, the door is equal on this side here, right? No, yeah, it's equal here. There's an issue here on the top here. There's an alignment issue on this side here, and the door is out. So there's a possibility that the door frame can be bent. We've seen that as well. But watch here now. When I drop, firstly, trying to open this door is a problem. So you actually got to yank it. But if you look at when the door is free, look at the gap here now. Again. So this whole, both doors actually have an issue with lining up. And I don't think it's a physical lining issue. I think it's a structural issue on the car. So why I'm also going back down to a structural issue is because we knew that there was an issue with this vehicle before. And the next thing to point out that it's a structural issue is if you look at the gap between your rain gutter bearing and your door here, you look at the gap on the corner here, and you look at the center gap, you can actually see that this pillar is out a bit, and you can actually see that the bearing is stressed a little bit here. You can't see so much here, but I can see on this side here. So my assumption is this pillar is sitting in here, something is happening on that opposite pillar, and we're having issues with the B pillars from there. Oh, there's a fly. So we're having issues with the B pillars from there. That's number one. Number two, also another reason why we said let's just take the car down. All the bearings are not lined up. This one is still okay. This is still fairly okay, but the bearings are all bowing, bending out. Here's another issue here. So I don't know if this is not sitting properly into the rubber, but this gap that's over here is wrong. So this one I can still say, but I can't say this is structural for now. This can be just the rubber not in properly. You'll walk over to the side here, and you'll see these bearings here not in place properly, right? So we're not taking the car apart because bearings are not in place. We're taking the car apart because we are battling. I think we're going to battle a lot with rust on this car. So even though it looks like there's no rust, but if you see telltale signs of rust creeping up from the bottom, here's one sign here already. Here's another sign here in the corner here. And from the previous cars that we're getting in, we're seeing that these areas on both left and right, they are starting to rust up here. And I don't know where that water is coming in from. A lot of the guys re-drill into the boot lids. They don't seal up properly, or even if they take the boot spoil off, they don't seal up properly. The rainwater comes basically into here, into the holes. It'll either come in here underneath the panel into the boot lid, because we are seeing the boot lids rusted, and they staying in the boot drainage area. Then going to the interior of the car. So central locking, and now it's catching. The latches, these things were stripped before, right? So you can see there is issues here. I can hear the pumps clicking, but these things are not sitting right. Door cards, these were restitched before. We're gonna throw them away. We're gonna get the set of original door cards on here. We're gonna see what else we can salvage from the vehicle. This rubber here, something small and stupid, has to get replaced. If you look at the paint here, so you'll see these guys painted with the kit on top of the car. We don't want this here. We want to get our gap between the panel, the kit panel, and the body panel correct. So your outer door sills, we know we're going to replace it. These door rubbers, we're going to take away, throw them away. They're not meant for the car. Simple example is here on the corner. So yes, with the new aftermarket door rubbers, there is a L bracket. Not L bracket, it's an L joiner that comes in here. They can join from the bottom, but for an IS, it's not recommended. Then I think we got some sort of Alcantara or some sort of fabric here on top here. These guys, I'm going to take them out. We're going to throw them away. Roof line is going to come out. We're going to throw that out. We don't want Alcantara on the EVO2 car, not on a pedigree vehicle. The check panel isn't able to sit properly. I guarantee you we're going to find glue under that. we want to try and get an original visor panel so that the jack panel can fit in properly from there. Carpet. So this fabric here is not the correct fabric, number one. Number two, it's not the correct color. Number three, you'll actually see, okay, I can see there's a plate in here. You can actually see it's damp in here, there's water. I know that the sunroof was leaking on this car. That's another issue. That's got to do with lining up, right? That we need to come to. I don't even know what is going on in there. So, okay, you've got a injector clip holding your accelerator pedal. I'll move this guy out now, but I guarantee you that we're going to start finding rust underneath here. So how I can see that now is that you can actually see the floorboard is sloping out. So it's lost its shape basically, and it doesn't seem, I can actually feel the bead rolls in here. So it doesn't look like it's got any foam pairing at the bottom here. So you're going to get a lot of engine heat coming, exhaust heat coming through this guy here, and it's just not, it won't be a pleasant car to drive. Then we've got a lot of wiring that's hanging at the bottom here and all of it, and we're gonna want to go through that, right? So the easiest way is sometimes it takes you so much longer just to find what is causing the crap as to just, you're not taking the car on. We know we have to take the car out because of the rust issues, because of paint. We're not ever going to go through the paint on the vehicle. We're going to take the car down, and it's just easier. We start afresh, and I'll just take you through the triple threes now, and you'll understand again why we're going to do that. One of the biggest issues that we found on the vehicle is where the car on the left, where the car was getting repaired. So a buddy of mine was busy with repairs on the vehicle, and he called me out and he said, Sanjay, please, you need to come and see this car here. Can we salvage it? Can we repair it, or do we have to strip down? And while the car was on the left, so on the left, the car looks like it's got, and I'll show you now when we go onto the left when we start stripping down. But the car looks like it's got a rubberizer on it, and it's got color on it. So they painted the guy at the bottom. And in order to paint the guy at the bottom, it looks like they've stripped out a lot, which is not a problem, but there's a couple of issues of parts holding, bolts and nuts holding on the cross member, where there's nuts, there's like funny stuff going on at the bottom there. I'll actually show you on video. But my biggest fear is I'm seeing on the rubberizer and on the color, I'm seeing brown spots everywhere. So brown spots meaning your rust spots. So it's not rust on the rubberizer, but it's rust marks. So it means that water is coming, it's leaking through there, right? But the water is already brown, so that means that the rust is coming from the body. It cannot be coming from the rubber, obviously, but it's coming from the body. And I guarantee you, once we do a strip down under that rubberizer, we're going to find rust on it. How far the rust is, I don't know. So we know that this guy has to get, we know we're going to blast this car, and we know that we're going to start doing fabricational work on the vehicle. Engine bay quickly. The engine bay looks decent. It looks okay-ish. Nothing wow. I see a couple of things missing here, like your firewall mats, that's missing on the gearbox tunnel. You're not going to be able to see it from this side here, but there's mats missing here, there's mats missing behind your fuse box, and they're there for a reason. But I guess us humans, you know, we always know better. So get that in there. Motor is going to come out. Oh yeah, so the motor, I don't know what mileage this guy has done on it with the new build motor, but when I actually drove the car from the previous workshop to here, and at 3,500 RPM, the motor is starting to rumble. So for the non-South Africans, when we call what we refer to as a rumble, means that it's a starting of a rod knock. So a rod bearing knock, it's the starting of that. And I'm hearing it at 3,500 RPM. So we know the gearbox is also an issue on this car, but we know motor is going to come down. I don't know what to expect in motor, so when we do a strip down, we will see what we're dealing with there, and then from there decide. This here is the HP2 car. It's EVO2 HP2 car. So this here should be the 155 kilowatt motor, and this is 2.7 crank, 2.7 rods, 2.7 pistons. If it doesn't have that in, I don't know where we're going to find it. I think the customer did mention to me that they got a 2.8 crank in here. I don't know where we're going to find that. We'll have to hunt it down. So back to this here again. everything gets stripped out. Stripped out back to metal. We start off like this here. We start building on the jigs. You can see we've got Alton there. He's busy with the wiring. Each car's wiring takes about 2 to 3 weeks just to get done and lay down properly and test it properly. So that's the procedure we're going to follow. And once we follow that procedure, we know it gets done properly. We know it gets done right. And it's just easier to work with it. So having said that, let me start stripping down. The strip down today is going to be myself and Gray. Gray, you can start solo. You can start. He is waiting for the video. He doesn't want to be in the video. He's scared to be in the video. So the strip down is going to be myself and Gray today. I got the 2 girls. My 2 daughters are going to help out as well. They're eager to jump onto the vehicle, which is a nice thing. And let's start on. Okay, let's start on. I'll do the updates on the other cars in another video. Okay, so we're busy stripping out in the center here, and I'm wondering why am I battling with this guy. And I was telling you now that I'm going to change all the outer sills, and the inners look new, they look alright still, but the outer sills, especially this one, it looks very tired. Yeah, it doesn't help if there's a whole lot of Sikaflex put on with it instead of just using the correct clips. Okay, this is the carpet I was talking to you about now. So while I got you here, and there's more glue than anything else. So okay, so you're gonna have to give me a chance to lift this carpet up properly before we can just try and inspect for any rust or anything of the sort. Yeah, there's glue everywhere. Everywhere. Jesus. Oh my. No man, no man, no man. Yeah, even Lucian is laughing behind me. I'm trying to show less emotion and be guys. This is underfelt. Okay, at least I can see some sort of sound deadening here. But my Elton, come here.
Yo, put a blanket on.
Yeah, it's like Elton calls it, he put a blanket. My God. Okay, so biggest issue, right? This is not soundproofed. Or not soundproofed, fireproofed. This here is not anything fireproof. So if there's a short or anything of the sort here, this is the first thing to catch a light. Okay, so I'm gonna come and take this thing out now, right? It sounded near the bottom, but feel it. Come feel it. What you feel there? There's no sponge at the. There's no sponge at the bottom.
Yeah. Sorry.
There's no. So there's a special soundproofing sponge at the bottom. It comes underneath the. It comes underneath the carpet, between the carpet and the body, and that's not there. Okay, anyway, we're gonna carry on stripping. Put this for me. Okay, it's fine, Lush. Okay, so we're busy taking off the kit. Battling to get to these last screws here. So they use the. Okay, these are the only clips available from him. Not clips. These are the only. We're gonna call them clips that's available from him. They normally come at the last end, which is fine, right? It's not first price. But now, as I'm coming and I'm pulling this kit out, my God. So they've drilled a hole into the door with fiberglass and a bracket. The fiberglass the kit on this side here with a bracket into it and alright, so this is part of the surprises that we're gonna find on the car. So if you look here, this is what happens now with all the fiberglass. Look here. See how this kit is starting to break up here. And it's a plastic kit. It's a plastic kit. It looks like it's just a repair here, but I mean, you really go and screw up panel. So if a panel is not being able, if you aren't able to use a panel, you're not able to use a panel. Don't always go and try and make a plan. Let's see. So there's always the screws and nuts holding onto the side here. I'm gonna see. The biggest thing here is trying to get into the paint. So I'm gonna have to see. So this is what happens now when you paint the kit on the car. When you paint the car with the kit on it, instead of painting the kit separate, the bumper separate. Maybe the bumpers were painted separate, but the kit was definitely on. So you can actually see the paint. So then, yeah, sorry, what is holding? Yeah. There's nothing holding here. Should more paint here. What is it? There's something holding. I don't know what the hell it is here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get to the sun here. When we take the suspension off, I'll get to that day. Okay, so we've got seats out, we've got the door guards out, we've got seat belts out. Great. We've got the seats out, we've got the door guards out. The kit is loose basically. Everything in the engine bay is loose. We're gonna start pulling out center consoles now. The center consoles, the dashboard, and then hopefully by tomorrow morning we can get ready quickly with the drivetrain. Yeah. Okay, so we just got the boot stripped out now quickly, and we got tons of sound deadening to get through. So I think this is an overkill on sound deadening. Look, I think the intention was good. The intention was good, but the understanding of sound deadening is not there. So we give them A for attention, but we need to start pulling out all the sound deadening here. Sorry, start pulling out all the sound deadening here. But what's right is we pulled the carpet out of the car. So you saw when I showed you guys just now that the carpet was glued on, right? And we've got this underfelting here, and this is actually a headache. So if you look at, this is glued on everywhere. So never mind the sound deadening. Never mind the headache of the sound deadening. Look here. This is all glued down to the sound deadening. And it's gonna take us ages to strip out here. Then we can see that, okay, we need to go through all our seat bolt threads, and our studs here have been replaced. Right? That explains why there's a funny bolt running from underneath the car into the car on this side here, and vice versa here. We need to get these studs sorted out here, and then I would really like to get to the bottom of the sound deadening because I want to see what is going on underneath this car. But it's going to take us ages just to get there because of that. So if I look at the car at the bottom here, I can see that the inside has been sprayed before. Okay, let's get the heater box out. See, the windscreen is out now quickly. I'm not even going to try and salvage this roof liner here because I've had to actually cut the door cards out, so you'll actually see pieces of the door cards on the, see here, Lucian? Just focus here for me. Pieces of the door cards on the side here. I had to cut the door card because they basically molded the door card into here, which is not, it's not a bad thing, but obviously it's not ideally for what we want to do, right? That's more for a custom car build, to do things like that. So we said with the door cards we're not going to use, we're going to scrap that anyway. So okay, so we're just going to pull backboard out of here quickly. We're going to start. I think I really want to get the sound deadening out here. Gray, you busy there? Okay, let me start. I'm going to start with the bearings first quickly. Get all the bearings out, get the windows out, and then we'll start figuring out a way of getting the sound deadening out. Okay, so this guy. Let me rather turn this camera here. Hey, okay, so this guy. I'm trying nowadays not to complain, right? And I've been told to compose emotions. I'm told to compose emotions with when strapping these cars and stuff like that, on when I find certain things, but I'm finding it very hard to compose it. Okay, so this here is our retro shelf, parcel shelf. I don't know what the hell is going on here, but anyway. So as we're strapping into the car, we're starting to find. So it looks like the car started off as a restoration because I can see paint on the inside. The car was painted on the inside. But I see white here. What is going on here? There's white there, so I don't know if that can be what, but you can see the rust. Look here. Sorry, we're still gonna do a full body go through, right? Okay, wait, let me just get back to, let me concentrate here quickly. We'll go deeper into the car once the car is strapped up and I've pulled that blanket out. I think this is blanket. I don't know what else to call it. It's actually the dog's blanket that we buy. You know, we here in South Africa, we normally go to Ackermans or Pep stores or whatever it is, and we get these blankets here, and I think this is what it is. Oh, it's underfelt, as we know it. But anyway, we'll come back to this. So I've been battling now for the past 2 or 3 hours, right, to pull these out, and I knew on the other side we had Sikaflex all over on the C-pillar ear bearings. So okay, the Sikaflex wasn't too bad, but it was still there. This is the amount of Sikaflex that we've got to deal with, right, as I showed you guys now. But now I'm battling here now. So I'm battling to take off this guy, and I got, firstly, there's no clips anyway on here, right? And I'm battling and I'm battling and I'm battling, and I'm gonna have to bend it out and break it out because there's Sikaflex all under this here. So I don't know who does that. I understand stuff might not have to come off the cars again, or people think it might not have to come off the cars again, but in this case it has to come off. And you can actually see the silicone. Okay, you're not seeing it there, but there's silicone over the show here. So guys, when you're building, stay away from silicone. Silicone is not gonna hold the car together. In this case it is, but it's not gonna last forever. It's not the right way of doing it. So I just had to go back. Okay, so I just had to go back on video here quickly because I'm trying, and this is the only way I'm actually gonna have to pull this panel off because we've got a layer. Sorry, I'm trying to focus on here. That's a zoom. Hold on. Just trying to show you some reference. Okay, this is better. I just changed the video mode. And this is how much of Sikaflex glue we've got on here. So I've got to, okay. You can't even lift this panel up. So normally you got to, in the previous videos I showed you, we've got to lift up and clip out. I can't even do that on here. So I'm actually going to waste this stupid panel on here and try and I can't even say heat it up. Heat is not even working here. But anyway. Okay, so this is how, unfortunately, I've had to pull it out because of shit like this. So people decide to put Sikaflex or silicone or whatever it is on these things where you're not supposed to have them on, and it's impossible to get these guys out. Even if you bend them a little bit, like I've said before, even if you bend them a little bit, it's very hard to, you can reuse it, it can fit on, but you're never going to line it up properly. And I think even now on one of the cars that we put together, I'm still battling with it, and that's one of the straightest ones. But because of assembling it in a certain way, you always battle to, my mic is on, you always battle to get it on. Okay, so Gray, I got that out. Just take off, you took off that side for me? Yeah. The people, they took off the inside ones here for me. Well, the back windows are out already, no one check that. Okay, let's get the car ready to get onto the lift. Showed you guys now, but this is the amount of sound deadening I did show you guys on the car. Okay, let's get ready for extraction. Okay, so just quickly underneath the car, we started strapping already. I just wanted to show you. Yeah, I saw it off. And check here also. So if I remember correctly, when I saw this car on the left, when I went to go inspect the car, the cross member bolts, I think there were only 2 bolts holding the cross member down. So one on the side here, and one on the opposite end, or it was 3 bolts, I can't remember exactly now. You can see our cable ties by the fuel filter there. There's something happening on the side here by the chassis leg. So we need to still inspect that further, but we're going to do a measurement on this car, whereas by this chassis leg here. So you can see it was cut and joined before. I don't know, we don't have much history on the vehicle. Then I just move towards it. This is our modifications here on the control arm bolts here. Same story here on the side here. So that one is a bolt there. Then, sorry, the guys are busy here. Okay, so let me walk towards here, right? I need to walk around the guys here. Okay, so firstly, the rubberizer is pulling out completely. There's still the old, it feels like old rubberizer that's on here, but there's a couple of areas that I want to show you, and here's one of them. So you can see this has been welded before, right? Something has been done here before, and again, not treated properly. And you can actually see the brown. The brown is basically the rust coming from under the rubberizer from the panels. And there's a big gash here in the floorboard. You know the story there. But there's touches of these rust areas. So let me just walk. Yeah. All this here. So this is rust in here. There's rust in here. You can see the car has been painted before. This is all rust coming out here on the side here. So this car has been painted before, and this guy hasn't done much mileage, and you can see how the undercarriage looks. You can see the paint, there's not much dirt on the paint and stuff like that. So having said that, if there's so much if the rust is starting to creep up now at this age, you can just picture what it's going to look like in a couple of years. So our decision is take it apart. You can see the paint is fresh here. You can see, so work has been done. There's been work on the car, but they've sprayed over stuff here. So it's not a problem. They've tried to restore the car properly before, but, or not properly, they've tried to restore the car, but yeah. So anyway, this here is the reason why we said, let's take it back down, because we can see telltale signs of issues on the metal already. Sorry. We can see issues or telltale issues of rust creeping up from underneath the rubberizer and the paint and stuff like that, and we know that's going to become an issue. So we know that we've got issues with the structure of the vehicle, the body of the vehicle, on the pillars. We know that's got to be done. We know there's a lot of Sikaflex issues where it's going to start not vibrating loose. It's just not done right. It doesn't look right. The panels don't line up. So we made the decision to say, let's take down, let's strip down. We don't know what else has been done to it, and basically start off from scratch again. Like I told you, the motor's also got, I don't even think the car's got 1,000 Ks on it. Motor's already got a bearing knock. So we know it as a rumble. So we're going to carry on stripping now, and then I think the real surprise is going to be when we send the car in for blast. We're going to do a light media blast on it. But I think with this one, we're going to do a little bit different, right? I think we're going to first do a undercarriage strip down. So get that rubberizer out, put on another rotisserie, get the rubberizer out, and then we're going to send it in for media blast and see if they can media blast the balance of the stuff that we can't get to, especially in the corners, because it is a bit tough to work on. And then yeah, so let's get ready for extraction, and then let's see if we gonna be a bit more surprised. Done with the extraction. We chose not to record it for two reasons. One is you guys know what the extractions look like and what the process is. So it's copy and paste. Only difference on this vehicle, we had one bolt stripped in the chassis leg, so we had to cut that out first on Friday. So we decided, you know what, let's just take it out on Monday, take it out calmly, so we got that out. Okay, so having said that, there's a couple of things that we already found on this vehicle, right? So let's just go through it quickly, and you'll understand why we've chosen to take the vehicle down, and we're going to start from metal and work back up again. Firstly, this is an EVO2, right? So I don't know if it's an HP2 vehicle. Yes, it's an HP2 vehicle. So the value is there in the vehicle for us to spend the time that we're going to spend on it, right? Unfortunately, given the previous builds and restores, there's a lot of parts spent, a lot of parts bought. There's a lot of money spent on the car. And unfortunately, it is what it is. We can't really go and redo any of that, but we can try and better it from here. So we've still got a couple of things to, okay, let's just finish up in the engine bay. So a small stupid thing like this battery tray here, I don't know for what reason it was cut out unless motor was changed before. So obviously this year we just want to get back to normal. This car was painted before, right? So we don't know what we're going to find underneath, and I'm going to show you the telltale signs. Not telltale signs, I'm going to show you why I'm saying we don't know what we're going to find underneath. Give me a screwdriver there, give me a flat, you got a flat. Gotcha. So this is already starting to crack up and peel up here, right? Let's see here. Okay, so this is like rubberize or something underneath here, which is actually, I'm happy to see that over there, because I'm just happy not to see rust over here. But there is areas where we are gonna find rust, and firstly, it's how it is on the E30. So in order for us to not assume that the body is fine, what we are going to do is, right, we're going to go through our media blasting process, our paint stripping process. We're going to go through the undercarriage now, and I'm actually going to show you why we opt into media blast, right? Okay, this is a clear sign here. So you've got a thick paint build up on this car, and this is rust building up underneath the paint. So eventually what's going to happen is, if we just flat this car down and start prepping it up like that, we're not going to see these guys here, and then a year or 2 or 3, however long it's going to take, it's just going to start bubbling up, and the rust is going to start spreading underneath the metal, right? We say this on every single car that we strip. But here's another thing also. On camera, it's going to be very hard for you to see how thick the paint buildup is around here. You can see here into here, you can see into here. I don't know how many layers of paint is here, but in order for us, there's a here thing trying to come here, I get to cut the core. Okay, so we're gonna move on to that, right? Then there's something else that we found on this vehicle. I mentioned that the sky is actually skew, and that was one of the reasons why. This is a masking marks, but anyway, the car is actually skew, and that's one of the reasons why I'm also choosing to start over again, right? So we had the car measured out this morning, and yeah, pardon me, a screwdriver again, please. There's a cut and join on this side, so I don't know if the car was in a smash or something of the sort. There, ina. What's that? That's body filler. Yeah, this is okay. So this is fine. It's just a dent in here, but that's body filler, right? But there's a cut and join on the car somewhere along here. And why we're saying there's a cut and join is because this chassis leg is actually out. So when I showed you on the video, one of the cross member bolts, on your cross member you've got 4 bolts. You've got 2 at the back, 2 in the front. And this car had 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2 or 3 bolts holding on the cross member, right? I think it was 3. It was 3, nah? Which one was out? That side there was out. Or was it this side here? Front or back? The back one. So the reason why that bolt wasn't in there is because the chassis leg is out. So you got 2 bolts here, you got 2 bolts here. If your chassis leg is out, your bolts are not going to line up, right? So you're forcing 3 bolts to hold your cross member up. So now the issue we found is that this chassis leg is not bent, and I'm going to lift the car up now for you anyway. There's a cut and join in the middle of the 2 bolts. So where they welded the new chassis leg on to where it's supposed to be is actually further away from your mounting point or from your standard point. That's number 1. Number 2, the back of the car has actually got an issue as well, and that came up shorter. Where the issue is coming from, we don't know, but it's measured up that the back right is shorter, and that's the reason why we're having an issue on the back right rear window, and we're overlapping on the C-pillar ears. Okay, Gray, do me a favor. Let's go up on the camera. Let's go up on the left. While we're taking the car up, just drop the bonnet there for me, please, Gray. Okay, Lucian's gonna grab it. Okay, so another thing is this valence. Okay, although it's an original valence from BMW, but it's the wrong one. Only I'm gonna call it non-South African because I don't know exactly which country it came in, but only the non-South African cars came up with a blank off here and some of the 318s, if I'm not mistaken. So unfortunately, a brand new valence gone to waste. But it's cut. The valence is still cut here. So yeah, hold on, Craig, hold on. You can actually see where the leg is sitting here and why they had to cut and join here. See where the leg is sitting? This leg is sitting all the way in. Look at the gap on here. And the gap on the side here. This side looks a bit equal, but maybe it's my eye playing. We can't really use it as a guide, but it looks like it's out. Okay, take up, Craig. Sorry. Craig. So just take off. I'm very clear on the way now. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so don't even bother this here. I'm actually gonna get the measurements out for you. What I'm gonna do is on the next build, I'll actually have a diagram with the measuring points out for you on that. Okay, so this here we know is gonna come out now. This harness has been worked on. We'll open up and see exactly what is going on with it and get rid of all of this paper. So as I showed you guys, this guy's got undercarriage work is up to crap on it. I don't know why it's going on here at the bottom. But the rubberizer is peeling off, so this is still the old rubberizer on it. Okay, so you'll actually see from the side here. Here's the rust in the chassis legs here, and this is like normal. So see. Okay, there's rust pulled up in here. It's bad. Let's see if we can get the camera into this hole here. You can actually see. Watch here. It's onto the camera. That's how bad the rust is built up in here. So we're gonna have to open up, most likely I have to open up this leg. Now it's this side here. And so this is not too bad actually in here, but that leg has got a lot of rust in there. So you can actually see here on the floorboard itself. This brown here shows us that there's rust coming up, and it's we don't know how far it is and how bad it is, but we already know that we have rust. Yeah, so we can imagine that it is going to be flowing all the way up. So firewall, we need to get that repaired. We know we're going to have to do a repair on the floorboard. We're going to have to clean up the jack stand, get that sorted out, and we're going to have to build up this lip on this corner here. Then sorry. Besides for that, look, I can't, the rust, from a rust point, right, I can't really see much on this vehicle because of, it's got a fresh coat of paint or rubberizer or whatever it is on here. I can't really see much from what I'm seeing there. There's an issue, we know this is an issue here. What is this here? This is the, I don't know if this is old rubberize. Yeah, this is old rubberizing, it's not rust. I'm not gonna lie and exaggerate, but where I can see rust, I'm gonna tell you, but what I'm scared about on this guy is where we can't see it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a manual strip down on the garage. It's a lot of work. It's whoever's done it before will understand. It's a lot of work on there. We're gonna do a manual strip down. Sit with the heat gun, sit with the wire brush, sit with the scraper, get that down because you can't really blast it out. Then from there send it for blasting so we can see further into it, and then we can start with repairs from there. Okay, then as for the jig, so we've had to polish the IX in here. We're just giving it a light polish so we can assemble the kit and the windows in it, because the showroom, they're busy offloading, Sonex is busy offloading a container with the new products that came in. So I'm gonna brief you guys up on that. And then the panel shop, the white 325 IS, the red 325 IS, that's all getting polished up there, cut and polished. So we're just a bit jammed with space. Okay, let's go on to the suspension. I haven't really gone through it, I haven't really checked it out, besides for when it was on the vehicle. And like I said, there was money spent on the car, there was new stuff put on. I don't know if it's a whole lot of new stuff or not, but suspension looks fairly good. We know the gearbox was just replaced now because it had a 318 gearbox onto it. You can see there's knuckle has to be replaced and get the correct balls put on. But yeah, nothing that we can really see now. When we start the teardown process, then we'll go through this whole shenanigan of the suspension. Anyway guys, but I think I've covered everything there. I showed you guys how it looked on the interior. I will do an update. Unfortunately, I can't do that update now because of all the sound deadening. Once that is cleaned out, I'll do an update for you, and that might be before blasting or after blasting, I'm not too sure. I will keep you guys up to date, but you guys know what to do. If you liked what you see here, like the content out, stay tuned, wait for the next episode to come, like, share and subscribe, and then yeah, enjoy guys.